I'm really pleased with all this planning work I've done for Project Spiegeltent,
And essentially a story about a young woman and the magical, weird things that start happening to her.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. It is very early. What time is it? It is currently 7:23 a.m. It is a winter's morning here in Adelaide. It's quite cold and today is a really exciting and special day because today we are at last officially starting Project Spiegeltent. I am very much still waking up right now, but I need to go grab my breakfast. I'm gonna have some porridge. I've stepped aside from Project Teacup. We're gonna be going on submission to publishers with that book, and to be honest, for the sake of my own sanity, I need to start a new project. I was sitting here being like, no, I shouldn't push myself. I shouldn't dive into another project. I should do some non-fiction work. I should do some short stories. There are so many admin tasks I need to do and haven't gotten to. But I've gotten to the point now where it's been enough time since I finished the last draft of my last novel that I kind of just, I don't know, like I want the structure of working on another novel. Like when I'm not in the middle of working on a long form work, there's something that feels like it's missing, which is so dramatic. But I was sitting in the Central Markets the other day and I'm doing this whole thing where most days I don't have any social media installed on my phone. So I'm trying to learn how to be more comfortable with being bored. And I was kind of just sitting there, literally not doing anything. And I started just typing up the very first chapter of Project Spiegeltent. It's very rough, but the early dregs of that story have started to form. I feel like I'm ready to start diving in. Today, I want to do some research. I want to do some plotting, and then I want to do some more exploratory work in terms of the voice. So I've mentioned before that the voice is going to be very interesting with this one. It's going to be very different to anything I've ever worked on. For now, it's early in the morning. It's very wintry outside, very foggy and misty and a bit chilly. I'm going to go for a nice, very long walk out in the winter loveliness because I love the cold. God, I hate summer. I am very much an autumnal and winter person. I'm gonna go enjoy nature outside, and then I'm gonna go to the library and do a morning's worth of research. Okay, we're ready, let's go.
We just got to the university. I had a lovely long walk. I was listening to The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I'm pretty sure they've used the same voice actress for that book that they used for Six of Crows, so it feels kind of Six of Crows so far, even though I know it's a very different story. This one is adult historical fantasy, and obviously Six of Crows is YA. But anyway, I had a fun time listening to it. I'm excited to get started on my research for today, but I figured that before I did that, I should probably give you guys a bit of an update. If you're new here, maybe this is the first video you're watching of mine. Hello, my name is Christy. I am a writer. I just finished working on a novel which I've been tentatively calling Project Teacup. It's with my literary agent, and hopefully we're going to hear an update about that at some point in the not too distant future. In the meantime though, I do want to get started on this next novel. So I had the first book that I started writing when I was like 16. I queried it in 2020. Eventually, after it was finally done, that book has been put to bed. I then wrote A Year in Tōkyō, which I self-published. Then I did Project Teacup, and now I'm on to book number 4. So I'm very excited to get started with this one. I want it to be a fantasy story. I want it to be gently gothic, like spooky and fun and whimsical. I want it to be set in my home city of Adelaide. We have this amazing festival scene here. For those of you who don't know, I used to work in the arts and I learned so much during my time in the arts, and Adelaide is this like gently gothic city. Like there's so many bats here. Like during the summer you just see like hordes of bats flying over. There's so many churches here. I just think this would be a really cool setting for like kind of made up circusy festival thing that isn't real. Like I want to invent a festival for this story, and essentially a story about a young woman who goes to work for this festival and the like magical weird things that start happening to her. I kind of want the structure to be a bit weird and interesting, and for the first part of today, for working on this story, I want to do some research. So I'm in this time where I'm looking for information information. I'm kind of looking for inspiration. I want to learn more about theatre and the circus because I learned a lot during my time of working in the arts. I don't have a performing arts background personally. Like, I used to sing when I was a child. I was in a choir for a little bit, but I do not come from an arts context. And so I've downloaded a few chapters of the Cambridge Companion to Circus and also the Cambridge Companion to Theatre. And then I'm going to go to the library and see if there's any fun books I can get on circus and the theatre. I think the sun is directly behind my face now. You guys are probably getting blinded. I know that I started doing like vague vlogs here and there, like last year, starting to research things, but honestly, I'm basically just scrapping everything and starting again because it's been such a long time since I've touched this story. And yeah, let's go do some research.
It is now a few days later, currently Monday, it's just past 5 p.m. I've had a really lovely, cozy work day today. It's been super rainy. I did start filming this vlog on Friday with the intention to film the entire thing in one day, but during the afternoon I kind of got a little bit derailed, and this anecdote I'm about to tell you is relevant to previous vlogs and to writing stuff generally. I've said a few times over the past few videos and few weeks that I've been feeling really tired. It's kind of been going on for months and my health has been not amazing. I've had all these sinus problems. They're ongoing, by the way. I'm still dealing with the sinus problems. Nothing's been like terribly wrong, but I've just been feeling really flat and tired. Turns out, guess who is once again a low iron and low vitamin D girly? That is me. I am not just tired from a burnout perspective, my blood is making me tired. So frustrating, but it's fine as far as health problems go. It's a pretty mild one, but I have been mentioning that I've been burnt out in recent videos, and now I know. Yeah, on Friday I got a call from my doctor, and then I had to get a doctor's appointment, and I had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, we're back here now, and I'm very excited because I'm going to be doing some plotting for Project Spiegeltent, which also brings me to the sponsor of this video, which is Millernote. Millernote is an amazing tool for organizing creative projects. I've worked with them before. I've been using Millernote for quite a while. while now. It's perfect for me because I'm such a visual learner and I love having all of the information in front of me set out in a way that makes sense visually for my brain. One of my favorite things about it is the portability. So it helps with the early iteration stages of a project, but it's also great because I can bring it with me when I'm out and about, if I'm in a cafe, if I'm in the library. I used to use big physical boards like this guy. This was how I originally plotted Project Teacup, and this is a very big and bulky way to plot out a novel. It's also very annoying because if you make a mistake, you have to rewrite the card, you can't bring it with you. The mobile app is also wonderful for when I'm on the go because I can quickly jot down ideas and have everything in the same place. Today I'm going to be doing the early planning work for Project Spiegeltent, so I'm going to show you that whole process. So I started here with a completely blank board and I decided I was going to use the novel template. Really, I want this board to be just like a hub of resources. I want it to be a spot where I can just dump inspiration, and I want to be able to dip in and out of different boards and have it be as intricate and have as many resources there as I can. Milanote is amazing for how many templates it has. Like, no matter what creative project you're making, there's probably a template that's going to help you in some way, which is really, really good for making things easy, but it's also really good if you're brainstorming a project because it gives you a jumping off point. It is so easy to customize these templates. I'm just adding in different cards, changing things up, adding my notes of what I want to do. I also love that I have so much control over the colors. Making everything visually cohesive is really good for my brain, because if I find something visually overwhelming or if it just doesn't work for me, I'm never going to go back to it. But having the ability to customize everything so perfectly with Milanote makes it really, really easy for me to use this, and it makes it really helpful for planning my novels. I love that you can just pop in music. I love that you can pop in links to things. I also love that you can have boards within boards because it makes it really easy to consolidate information and to have everything sitting in its right place. Done with this main kind of hub board that I'm going to be using. I've added some images to make it a little bit more pretty. I've added some music to help set the scene, and I can now jump into doing the mood board for the project, which is honestly my favorite bit. It's so much fun. It's so pretty getting to pick out all these images. Basically, I went into Pinterest and I typed in like vintage circus and tried to like kind of find things that aesthetically fit the story. This really helps me. Like I'm so visually minded. I love picking out color schemes for things. Like all of this stuff just kind of helps me visually build a picture, which, you know, is a really important step for me as a writer in like the storytelling process. Like I want to know what the world is going to look like in a kind of way. And then I'm going to jump into my brainstorming section. So I'm just putting down all of these notes, adding arrows, color coding everything. Doing this brainstorming this way is really helpful because I can set out ideas really visually. Here I'm basically just jotting down ideas like key themes that I want to have in the novel, little ideas about the circus and little tidbits about the character. Like I'm not putting any real pressure for this brainstorming to go any particular way because I'm so early on in the process. So I'm just jotting down ideas and doing this in a really kind of instinctual way. We are now jumping onto the research board that I've got. I keep using this table here to add in more resources once I find them. I'm also linking key documents like the Google Doc I used to write my notes on my research, adding in some more photos again to just make it pretty and paint the picture. I'm adding in a note here of key findings and also a to-do list as well. The Milanote web clipper extension is also really helpful for research as well, so I'm using that. And then I have my major story beats board. Now this is the one where I'm basically brainstorming the conflict of my story because that's the key thing that I don't have yet. So I have the beginning of the story, I know roughly who the character is going to be, I have all these very early things that I need to kick off the story, but I don't yet have the central conflict. And so what I'm doing here is essentially brain dumping everything that I know about the story, these little notes that I have about the key story beats, and then I'm trying to develop the conflict of the story. Because obviously it's all well and good to have a lot of lovely ideas and a lovely character and a lovely setting. However, conflict is the crux of a story, how that character gets into conflict and how that character gets out of the conflict. And so that is the key thing that I'm working on here with the major story beats, just developing that conflict. All of the major boards of the story are now complete, so I'm going to return to the hub of the story, which is this first Project Spiegeltent board. I have a few boards here that I haven't touched yet, like my project timeline, world building, plot, outline, all of these things, and this is because this is going to be a living, breathing document for me. The fact that Milanote is so easy to customize, the fact that I can lay it out exactly how my brain needs to see the information, means that this document is going to be really helpful for me, and I'm going to want to keep coming back to it. Milanote is available for free with no time limit. It's a wonderful, accessible tool for visually brainstorming projects. As I said, I love using it for my novels. Really, I love working with Milanote. I was so jazzed they reached out to me again. And I find it incredibly helpful for my writing process. Please feel free to go ahead and sign up for a free Milanote account using the link in the description. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there was actually a cheeky time skip during that integration because I made all of the Milanote stuff last night, but ended up filming the voiceover just now. So actually it's now Tuesday. Hello, welcome to the third day of this vlog. I'm really pleased with all this planning work I've done for Project Spiegeltent. I love this mood board. I think this is honestly my favorite mood board so far. So I'm gonna quickly upload this to Patreon. I'm gonna share it with my patrons first. There's also a couple things in like the research tab here where actually like underneath my research to-dos, one of the things that I was meant to do is go to the circus. And I had like a research to-do list in my phone. I had go to the circus on the list. And then we went, like Tyler and I, we were at AvCon and we were like volunteering in the indie games room because Tyler was showing one of his games. So I was there like helping out, like run the stall, do all the things, helping people play the game. And then on the Sunday, I was walking from AvCon to this market that was kind of happening at the same venue. So this was Gillies at the Grounds, which is kind of like a fun, handmade, slightly bougie market that they've got like pastries and stuff. It's a lovely vibe. But I bought these crochet flowers because I thought they were adorable. And on my way to Gillies at the Grounds, I saw the Cirque du Soleil tent. So we had AvCon, which is the anime and video game convention. There was Gillies at the Grounds, and there was also the circus crowd as well. So it was quite a vibe going on. But we didn't realize that Cirque du Soleil were coming to town. So we bought tickets for like a few days later and we went to the circus, which was wonderful for the early stages of Project Spiegeltent because obviously circusy stuff is such a big inspiration point. It is Tuesday afternoon now. I'm gonna get started on maybe a couple hours of exploratory work on the story. I'm just gonna start, not even in like a structured way, just like brain dumping ideas and trying to find the voice. I already have the prologue of the story-ish, like the first 1,000 words of the story is done, but I've got a long way to go until I'm anywhere close to finding the voice. So I'm gonna make some tea, buckle down for a couple hours, get some writing work done, and then I'm gonna come back to you guys and let you know how I went. Hello, it is just about 5 p.m. now. I think this is the only sunshine we've actually gotten for most of this vlog. The sun's finally come out from behind the clouds. It has been beautifully gloomy and cold for the last few days, which I've loved so much. Little bit ironic given that during the filming of this vlog I did find out that I once again have a vitamin D deficiency. But it's insane to me because like we just spent a number of weeks in Tokyo in the summer and like I go walking a lot. I am outside all the time. I'm covered in freckles because I'm constantly in the sunshine here in Australia. I have no business having a vitamin D deficiency. That is fine. But I am excited both from the perspective of starting Project Spiegeltent and feeling like for the rest of this year I'm gonna have a pretty solid goal creatively with this big project. As I said like towards the beginning of this video, I kind of feel like if I don't have a big project to work on that I'm kind of lacking some kind of structure from a creativity perspective. I think as well because when I make videos I generally make them if not weekly then every other week. They're these kinds of small projects that you spend a week or two on and sometimes they're a lot of work depending on the video, but you make the video and then it's done. Every week you're starting again and it's so not repetitive creative. Like there's a lot of lovely things about releasing videos and getting to get feedback and having that kind of creative loop of always releasing things. But I mentioned this a few videos ago that it does sometimes feel like a creative hamster wheel where you're just doing the same sort of things over and over again. But also on the other end of the spectrum, if you're working on a novel and if you're the kind of person who does take a while to write novels, like Project Teacup, I got the idea for back in 2020, and I've only just finished that book. And if best case scenario we get a publishing deal, it's still going to have more work to go, but that was 4 years, right? That's a long time. And so I am really quite grateful to have both kinds of projects where I can release things quite quickly in the form of YouTube videos, but also I have longer things to work on. And I think if I don't have a longer thing to work on, then I just feel like I need that, basically. I'm also, just from a burnout perspective, I know I've mentioned it so many times, and I get really, I don't know if frustrated's the right word because that sounds a bit harsh, but I get so annoyed with how easily I get burnt out, and I think I just need to give myself a bit of patience because I do struggle with iron problems, with vitamin D problems, with, had calcium last time, and there's so many different things. Like there's like a reason for me to be tired a lot of the time, and I think I just need to be patient with myself because I'm very much a person who's like very physically active. I do a lot of long distance walking, and I go running, and I do Pilates, and I love working out. I think it's so important for my brain, and I love my job, and I love working and all of this stuff. And I think I'm just realizing out of my little discovery on Friday that my vitamin deficiencies are back, that I just need to keep getting better at making time for myself to rest and to not overwork. And I don't think overwork is linked with vitamin deficiencies. I think that's something else. But yeah, basically I feel burnt out, and that's fine. I don't need to be annoyed at myself of feeling burnt out. I don't need to look for reasons as to why I should or should not feel burnt out. I'm just gonna focus on continuing to take the rest of this year a little bit easier than I have been, getting the nutrition I need, sleeping 8 hours a night. I think that's just something I really need because obviously my iron and vitamin D needs to be better. We made massive strides in today's video with Project Spiegeltent. I'm very, very excited about that. It's going to be a fun project. I think I'm still quite a way away from starting draft 1 officially. Like back when I was in the early stages of Project Teacup, maybe it would have taken me, like I can't even remember, maybe it was like 1.5 years, maybe it was like 2 years, I'm not even quite sure, between the early stages of getting that idea and being able to work on it properly, because I released another book in the middle of that happening. I don't think it's going to take that long with Project Spiegeltent. I think I just need a few more weeks or maybe another month of searching for the voice and just like trying to write down the first, several tens of thousands of words. Maybe I'll find the correct pathway for this book after 5,000 words of writing. I am like a lot more developed in my writing journey than I was last time I was starting a novel. So really all of this is to say, I don't know how this journey is going to go. But I'm excited to see how Project Spiegeltent turns out. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I hope you liked getting to see the early stages of this project. This is officially the first Project Spiegeltent vlog. I'm scrapping everything that came before this one because I was completely all over the place for everything. So I hope you enjoyed this. And also before I go, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting my videos. As a thank you to my patrons, I post writing updates, writing snippets. We have our book club, a Discord server, bespoke content, lots of videos, lots of things over on Patreon. So if you want to support my work and get bonus content from me, please feel free to check out Patreon. Take care everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.